Raptor, 1/48 scale by Hasegawa. So, this being chapter 5, I believe. We're already in chapter 5, I think so. I'll have to confirm later. I could be wrong. I sometimes get a little bit mixed up on my chapters. But anyway, let's load that intro for me, please. Okay, guys. Well, we're trucking along pretty good. Today's going to be about intake manifolds and about getting our fuselage halves put together. So, just a short little recap of what we did last time. Last time we got all of our bits inside the bottom side of the fuselage. We got our engines put in, we've got our bracing in here for our landing gear bays, and we got all our braces put in here to align the two fuselage halves together once we get to that point. Okay, so those are all in there and they're waiting. It's all happily just waiting for it all to go together. Today's going to be, like I said, it's about the intakes. Okay, I will switch the camera and you can get a better closer look at what we're doing here. Okay, so looking at the page here, it would have us put in a bunch of detailed bits on the upper half of the fuselage. Stuff that just goes in our landing gear bays would be going in along here and in here, but we're not going to be bothering with that because this stuff is all closed up. You're not going to see any of it because our landing gear bay doors are all closed. As you might be able to see, I've put a little bit of white putty around the edges to just seal up a couple of little gaps here and there, and so that's going to look nice when it's all painted the same color and we're all done. So that's all finished and we're ready to go. But like I said, I'm not going to bother putting any of the bits in here because you're never going to see them. This is all closed up. Okay, so which basically means we skip this whole part and we don't have to put on these 8 or 10 little bits and bytes that go there. Okay, which means we skip down to here and we go to our intake manifolds. The first thing I would take note of is they want us to put decals on the insides of them. Now, having built this kit before a few years ago, I remember that I forgot to do this part before assembling the intakes, and that doesn't mean it's the end of the world if you do forget. This is the kit here. This is the assembled version from what I built a long time ago. There's an idea of what this would all look like if your landing gear is all open and your weapon bays are all open also. Okay, and you can see right inside here and here, you can see those decals. Okay, so they're not impossible to put in later. It's not that big of a deal if you do happen to leave it out. Okay, so no big deal if the decals aren't in there. In fact, one thing that I will note is they tell you to paint the inside of them completely white, right? But as you can see on my kit that I've got painted and finished, the inside front here is not white. This is the same color as all these other little spots like this and this on their Raptor paint pattern. These are obviously not white. So if I put the decals on now, these are white. I've painted these white in here, and I put these decals on now, then guess what? I'm going to have to try and mask over those decals, and that's not going to be fun, and probably pull the decals up when I move the masking tape. So I'm not going to bother. Let's grab our intake runners off of the sprue. So these big long 4 pieces here, okay? Let's grab these here. This was kind of a challenge. These things do go together pretty well, if I remember correctly. They're not that bad at all. There's one thing I did find was the big challenge with these guys, however, is the fact that they don't line up with the fuselage properly when you go to put everything together. That was the big challenge I had, and is still evident. I never did get it right on my other kit. Well, I should say my kit. This kit is not mine. I'm building this for somebody else. So that one. Hasegawa really puts a lot of injection spots on these to make sure it all comes out. Okay. So these guys, there's obvious lefts and rights. These two don't go together, which means these two do, right? Maybe not quite. Nope. It's these two. Okay. Once you get it figured out, it's like, oh yeah, that's exactly right. That's why these two go together and they don't go into anyone else. They do kind of have them undergated, but you do have to make sure your nubs are clean on these, just for fitment and all that good stuff. So you don't want to have anything stopping you from getting the two halves together. That means cleaning up a couple little burrs and stuff like that. Now, like I said, I've dealt with these with the other kit, with my kit, and it was a huge challenge, and I struggled with it, and I never did get it right. Once I get these 4 pieces put together, I'll show you on the other kit the exact trouble I had. Okay, so I'm going to clean up these nubs because I know I'm going to run into fitment issues. Okay, there's one. Let's get these cleaned up here. I already know, because other people have had the same problem. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. Yeah, I'm not the only one who's had this problem. And it's obviously an issue with this kit, getting it all lined up. And the fact is, once you have it in the kit, you could literally leave the engine fans out and nobody would ever notice, because the curvature of these things makes it so that you cannot see down the complete intake runner. Because of this curve and the angle that you get to look at, you basically look straight in here and you're looking at this back wall here, this curve, and that's all you get to see. You don't get to see way back here. So only the guy who built the kit gets to know that there's actually an intake fan at the back wall. Nobody else is ever going to know. And one more to go. Like I said, we're just cleaning up all these nubs, because the way this sits inside the fuselage, you need to have it all cleaned up. And even all cleaned up, even if you have it all cleaned up, you're still going to have a challenge in getting it to fit with the fuselage. And I will show you once I get this done. Okay, so we line these up. We've got a few pins. We got a pin here, nothing here. We've got a pin here and a pin here, and that's how we're going to line it all up, and that's how it's going to look. Okay, just like this. And I got a little bit of a gap there. I'm going to fill in with some putty later. Okay. What I might do before I actually put it all together is just lay down a bead of putty in there, so that when I put it together, it squishes together and is all nice. But that makes it a challenge for lining up and getting it right. So I might not do that at all. So glue. Glue is first and foremost. Let's get her glued together. Run glue all the way along. On both sides. Okay, just do a little bit there, let that glue set, and then I'll do the other half. Okay, so let's do this one now. It's lined up. Like I said, it's not perfect, so you got to put a little bit of pressure and do bit by bit. As you might be able to see, if I get that at the right angle, you can see down inside here, down this seam, you can see some light through it, right? It's not perfect by any stretch of the word. But again, this far back in the intake, nobody's seeing this part. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if that's perfect or not. There are some guys who really are adamant about cleaning up all the seams and everything like that and getting their intakes perfect, but you don't need to on this one, which is kind of nice. Okay, I'll set this one down, let that cure a little bit, and we'll work on this one now. Let's get some more glue. Sorry, I'm doing that right off camera. Okay, let's press that together for a second or 5 and make sure that's glued together. Okay. Now, like I said, this basically is going to sit in this position on the plane. And you can see, you can't even see through. You can't see through down the intake. I actually believe it's going to sit like this position, okay? Like that on the plane. And there you go. You can't see. Yeah, you can see the light down in there, but you can't see the hole. You literally cannot see the hole down at the back of the intake there. That's the unfortunate part of this. But that might actually work out to our benefit later. Why do I say that? Well, because I say that because if I have to trim this piece, it won't really matter if you can't see it. If I have to trim this, say way back here, I've got to cut a big section off or something in order to get it to fit right, it won't matter because you're not going to be able to see it. Sorry, I keep doing this off camera here. You can see how they've got a bit of a notch out here, right? Because that's got to sit down on top in the middle there, on the lower part of the fuselage. Okay, so with that glued together, I want to put some putty in on this seam along in here, just to close up that gap Not that there's a huge gap, but I want it filled in. Okay. I want it to look like that is a very nice, perfectly aligned assembly. So I'll just take one of my Q-tips and run that along in there, like that. Nice. And do the same with this. There. Now when that dries, that's going to shrink a little bit, and that'll be perfect. Okay. So these are assembled. We do have our fans that are going to go in the back here. Okay. Really, at this point, they're just for the sake of saying they're actually there, right? That's really all they're going to be. Because you ain't never going to see them. Okay, so they're in, that's that. Okay, and like I said, you cannot see them. Now they're blocking the light, you can't even see all the way down the tunnel, right? That's just the way it is. It's just the way it is with these. Also, you know, I spent the time painting them yesterday, and unfortunately you're never going to see it. So that's, again, unfortunate, but that's the way it is. Okay, so moving down here, we've got a few things they want us to do. Okay, they want us to put more bracing in this spots here. That's going to be along these four here. They want more bracing in there. I really don't see any point. We've got bracing here and in the center and on the back here on our engines. I don't see any point in getting these done. And plus we've got this wall. So it's really just overkill for the bracing, I believe. There's no point. You really don't need them. It's just too much. Okay. We've got poly caps that we've got to make sure we put in the back here and here. Okay. And then they've got a couple of pieces here we're going to put on the bottom afterwards, here and here for our lighting. Okay. And we put in our actual intake runners. Okay. Now I'm going to show you on my other kit the problem that I ran into. That problem that I ran into on the other kit is getting them to be flush in here along this line. As you can see, I have a huge gap there. Okay. There is a huge gap. That gap should not be there, right here. Okay. This one's a little better, but it's still not perfect. It's not bad, but it's still pretty bad, actually. But this one's horrible. But that was the best that I could do at this point. And I remember I built this thing about 4 years ago, right? So I'm already anticipating fitment problems with this guy. So let's see how this goes in. This, I believe, is going to go in on this side. So you can see they go all the way back here. And it kind of drops in. If I have this correct, it drops in right in there. Okay, in this spot. Kind of like this. Okay. That fits perfect, just like that, right? And that's in, and you can see how it sneaks through here, past our ridges, and sits like that. Okay. Now, if I put those braces in there, this would tuck in. Remember when we did this? Those braces do the exact same thing here. They're supposed to align it right in there. Now Hasegawa did actually do some pretty good engineering in getting this to fit in there, in between all of our braces. Right, that's a pretty good job. So let's see if we get the same results on this side here. Slide this down in. That's kind of just dropped in. You see how they actually touch in the middle there. And this is actually a way better fit compared to my kit. So I'm a little bit jealous. He's going to have a kit that fits much nicer than mine. I'm a little bit jealous of that. I'm tempted to not even glue these because I want to be able to adjust them if needed when it goes to putting the top fuselage on. I'm going to do a test fit. Before I do any glue, I'm going to do a test fit to see. So let's grab the upper fuselage here. You can see I got one brace that decided it wants to stay in the top instead of the bottom. Doesn't matter, because it all lines up. Okay. Except I have a problem here. It has to go underneath. So this has to come off, and that's going to break. It actually didn't break. It just came out. All right. Let's pull this out. Let's glue this guy down. Okay, put this back in. I am a little jealous that these fit so nicely for him and did not fit nice for me. Everything seems to fit really nice. It just went together like a dream here. Everything lines up except that one. I spoke too soon. This is not fitting here. So what is my problem? It's a little harder to see in there now with the intakes in there to see which particular one doesn't want to line up. It is our new one that I just put in there. Okay, because he's being a pain, he is going to come out. Actually, I don't have to take him out. I'm just going to trim him. Like that. Sorry, but if that's how you're going to act, that's how you're going to be, and that's what's going to happen. Okay. All right, let's try this now. Okay, I have this side lining up pretty good. Well, that's not right. This guy's going to slide back there. This is good here. It takes a bit of pressure to put it down, but that's okay. Any little kind of gaps like right there, I can kind of press together and get it. There we go. Got it lined up. That's good. When you have so many pins in the panels, it can be a bit of a challenge. Like, this one, as I squeeze the fuselage together, this guy's pushing forward. I want him to stay back. See, this is the problem with this kit. We're not exact. I think what I need to do is actually maybe shave down a little bit on the tops. Maybe get rid of these nubs where these pins are. Because, yes, we're supposed to be nice and flush on this side here, like this, right? That's the way that's supposed to go. But at the top, flip this over, that's supposed to tuck in right in here like this. And that should be flush right against there. Okay? And that's the big challenge with this particular kit. So where is this hitting on here? Because it's wanting to force this out like that and not sit in behind and tuck in like that. Okay. So what I want to do is, this is our top edge, and I want to shave this down. Okay, so I'm going to grab my file and we'll get to work on this. I'm going to cut these off. This, if I can get at them. There we go. Cut these off. I don't know if that's actually interfering or not, but now that it's all done, it's glued together, our little pins are not really necessary. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of force on this so that it goes quickly, and just kind of smooth this edge off. I realized I forgot to set my timer. How long has it been? 20 minutes or so? There. So I'll just shave this down. Even if it's only a millimeter, sometimes that 1 millimeter makes a difference, right? Oh, we opened it up. Let's glue that back. That back. Okay, so we'll set that one down and we'll work on the other one. Again, we're going to shave those off. Yeah, quite a lip. You can feel the lip here where the two go together. So we're just going to shave that down. So I do want to get this as fitting as nice as I can for them. One of those things, you know, I want to get this done right. I want it to fit perfect. Okay, I have removed that edge. This is now very rough, but that's okay. Rough is fine. I do want to get rid of any burrs though, so let's just sand this down. Sand this down now. Get her smooth. Okay, that feels better. Still got a little bit of a lip right there, but that's not a big deal. This guy goes on this side, I believe. Like this. And of course, he's supposed to sit nice and flush, just like that. Right? Just like the other side. Another thing that might be giving me a bit of a challenge is these little circles. Right? Because it's really limited in where it can fit because of these. So I think I'm gonna just, in an attempt to eliminate any possibilities, just kind of trim off a little bit of these little guide pegs. I don't know if they're actually interfering at all, but if I can just trim them so they're not so thick, maybe just kind of shave them a little bit. Give them a bit of a shave. Like that. And this one too. Okay. I don't know if that really is going to make any difference, but which way did it go? This guy goes. Here. Maybe it allows for a little bit of play, for lack of a better term. Now it can maybe move a little bit, just that 0.5 millimeter. I don't know. It's just a theory. It's really just a theory. I have nothing to back it up. I have nothing to back up my theory. Just that. Just a thought. Literally just a thought that maybe these restrict the movement a little too much. And so shave it off just that little bit, and maybe we've got some movement now. I don't know. Just a thought. Okay. Let's move this out of the way for now. Let's get back to this guy here. This was the one, right? The one that came apart on me. A little bit. Yeah, this is the one that I've sanded, okay. So let's get this guy a little bit more here. Okay. Down. Make it a little smooth. Of course, your sandpaper would make a lot shorter work of this, that's for sure. Okay. Let's get her back in there. Get these guys put back in their homes. Okay, slide that into your home there. Okay, you two, slide back in. Part of me really just wants to glue these in real heavy in their spots and then just deal with any fitment problems later on. Oops. To just glue them in and then deal with it later, right? I kind of want to do that. This guy really does want to push forward for some reason. I think it's just our nose that's doing that, forcing it forward. Because now suddenly he doesn't really want to stay, he doesn't want to be flush. And I just realized why. As I try and put this down, it suddenly is doing this. See that? When I get this flush here on the front and glued in, it doesn't want to sit. It doesn't want to sit down at the back. It's sitting up. I have a feeling that I might have to cut this off at the back here. I might have to shave this off, like cut this off like here, straight across, right? Like just goes zing across the top here. I think that's what I'm going to do, because I don't want it, when I go to put the top fuselage on, that's going to push this down and it's going to pull up on the front here. You see, as I push down on the back, it lifts that front out of that, makes that gap. You see that there? How it moves. So it's always going to be putting pressure there. So I'm going to see if the other side is the same. We're in at the front. Now see, this one sits perfect. This guy sits absolutely perfect. There's no movement. He sits great. So why is this side messed up? I can get it if I really push hard, but I don't want to have to push down on it. So I think we've got some kind of issue. Maybe this is an issue. See how that's not matched? So let's clean up that edge there. Maybe that edge is causing a problem. That could be it. I don't know. So, shave down that edge and we'll see how it fits now. I believe that edge was causing the problem. Because now we fit nice. Okay, so what this means is I'm going to have to glue these in, and I'm going to glue them in like this, and then I'm just going to let this sit, and I'm not going to, I want to let the glue cure for a day. Okay. So that means I need to slather a bunch of glue in there, because I need this to be rock solid hard before I do anything. Okay, so let's start with the friendly side. Now obviously there's a few few spots around here that it's touching. Okay, I know that it's touching underneath here, along here. But I'm actually tempted to use epoxy to get it to glue in its spot to stay. Okay. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use some 5-minute epoxy on that. So let's close this up. And let's get some glue ready. Let's put this aside. I have some 5-minute epoxy here that I'm going to mix up. So I'm just going to take use an old plastic bag here. We'll mix some of this up. Usually one side wants to squeeze out and the other doesn't. It's usually this side. There we go. Okay. Way more than I need, but I think it's probably time to retire this particular tube. So bye-bye. Keep my paper towel ready, and I'm going to mix these up. Like I said, because I want this really strong and I want it to hold like forever, no matter what I do to it later, which is why I'm doing this. Okay, so I'm going to put them here. Sorry. Again, I don't know why my habit today is to do all this stuff off camera. I know it's going all on here. And go down in this channel here. I think that's probably more than I need. So let's get this guy going into his permanent home. Okay, just like that. Let's put a little bit here on this edge right in there. Maybe even some right in here. I can use a regular glue for this part, it's not a big deal. But why not put the strong stuff in? I want to clean this up because I don't want to have a bunch of epoxy interfering with my fitment. Okay. The main thing I want for this side is this is flush. That's the main thing right there. So this is flush, right? I want to do the same on this side too. Okay. So let's get some glue. And knowing where the other side, where this side is touching, that's what I'm going to focus on this side. I know we're touching in on the side here. Okay. We're touching in along here. excess away. Okay, let's grab this one. Drop him in. Now I'm just focusing on the front part, not on the back. Now he is fitting in, but I'm just going to focus on the front there and that. See, this other one has come out. See, you got to be careful. Any movement and you're screwed. Okay, so I'm going to hold these like this while I go off camera and I wrap it up. Okay, I'm actually going to just clean off my screwdriver here, put this down. Okay, I'll change the camera. For my outro, I want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for the new subscribers this week. That's really amazing. I invite you guys to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I know about 80% of you guys who watch my channel haven't subscribed. So please hit that subscribe button. Once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I do have a special event coming up. Okay? Once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to be doing a collaboration with my fiance, and we're going to build an F-16 model together, both building the same kit. So I can show you guys, you don't have to be professional to build a decent looking kit that looks good on your shelf. That's the whole point of this channel, right? It's just to show you guys that. You don't need to be a professional. Okay? So, with that, I want to also invite you guys to check out my Instagram. Every time I finish a build, I upload to my Instagram. Okay, so you can check me out there. Down in the description box below is where the links for that are going to be. Okay, so again, guys, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for coming out, and we'll see you all in the next one.